second. Ah, yes, we are now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiki.
Thank you. So bear there with me, be patient. And our brother Mark will be reading. If you guys can please just mute yourself right now and don't turn over. It's so nice to see your face when we're speaking, and you feel like your love surrounding us. So I will do some here. So here it is. So Mark, let's see.
Just keep going. There's a lot here.
Okay.
Stop me when the spirits say to stop.
Yeah. So we are today talking about who believes in reincarnation. It is a great topic. And I make a lot of investigation to see in the world the percentage of people who believes in reincarnation. And we have amazingly a great over 25% of the humanity, the humankind who believes in or life after death or reincarnation. The life after death, the percent is almost 60%. That is great. And who believes in reincarnation, like the soul come back to the body and to continue its life's experience and progress, it is about 40%, 44%. So many countries and many religions that I will come back to explain a little bit to you. I will just obey the mentor now, right now. And but I prepare all of that. So if I have time or not, it is something that we can search in Google, AI. So if that you really truly want to be engaged about how many religions are there who believes in reincarnation, what is the percentage of the world, and they will bring to you every topic in every religion, how they work, how they believe in all the process. From now, my investigation during 3 days, it is practically the same, that summarize in one. The same teaching, different words and different practices, but it's the same way to evolve. So through this lecture today, we ask our brother Mark Carlos to read this, The Road of Life by Allan Kardec, on the book that had not been translated in English yet, called Postmal Work from Allan Kardec. So thank you so much, Mark, for reading to us, and forgive any translation mistakes there. Just let we keep, is a story. So when we keep in the story, things will be much better. Thanks so much.
Question of the plurality of existences has long preoccupied philosophers, and more than one has seen in the interiority of the soul the only possible solution to the most important problems of psychology. Without this principle, they have found themselves stopped at every step and cornered in an impasse form from which they have been able to escape only with the help of the plurality of existences. The greatest objection that can be made to this theory is the absence of the memory of previous existences. Indeed, a succession of existences, unconscious of each other, leaving one body to immediately take up another without the memory of the past, would be equivalent to nothingness, because it would be the nothingness of thought. It would be so many new starting points without connection with the previous ones. It would be an incessant rupture of all the affections which make the charm of the present life and the sweetest and most consoling hope of the future. It would finally be the negation of all moral responsibility. Such a doctrine would be just as inadmissible and just as incompatible with the justice of God as that of a single existence with the perspective of an absolute eternity of punishment for a few temporary faults. We understand, therefore, that those who have such an idea of reincarnation reject it. This is not how Spiritism presents itself to us. The spiritual existence of the soul, he tells us, is its normal existence with indefinite retrospective memory. Corporeal existences are only intervals, short stations in the spiritual existence. And the sum of all these stations is only a very small part of the normal existence, just as if, in a journey of several years, one stopped from time to time for a few hours. If during corporeal existences there appears to be a solution of continuity by the absence of memory, the connection is established during the spiritual life, which has no interruption. The solution of continuity exists in reality only for the external corporeal life and of relation. And here the absence of memory proves the wisdom of providence, which did not want man to be too much diverted from real life, where there are duties to be fulfilled. But in the state of rest of the body, in sleep, the soul partly resumes its flight, and there is reestablished the chain interrupted only during waking. To this, one can still raise an objection and ask what profit one can draw from one's previous existences for one's improvement if one does not remember the faults one has committed. Spiritism answers first that the memory of unhappy existences added to the miseries of the present life would make this one even more painful. It is therefore an increase in suffering that God wanted to spare us. Without this, how often would we not be humiliated when thinking of what we have been? As for our improvement, this memory is useless. During each existence, we take a few steps forward, we acquire some qualities, and we strip ourselves of some imperfections. Each of them is thus a new starting point, where we are what we have made ourselves, where we take ourselves for what we are, without having to worry about what we have been. If in a previous existence we were cannibals, what does it matter to us if we are no longer? If we had any fault of which no trace remains, it is a settled account of which we have no need to concern ourselves. Let us suppose, on the contrary, a fault of which we have only half corrected ourselves. The remainder will be found in the following life, and it is to correct it that we must attach ourselves. Let us take an example. A man has been a murderer and a thief. He has been punished for it, either in the bodily life or in the spiritual life. He repents and corrects himself of the first inclination, not of the second. In the following existence, he will be only a thief, perhaps a great thief, but no longer a murderer. One more step forward, and he will be only a petty thief. A little later, he will no longer steal, but he may have the inclination to steal, which his conscience will neutralize. Then, a last effort, and all trace of the moral illness having disappeared, he will be a model of probity. What then does what he has been do to him? Would not the memory of having perished on the scaffold to be a torture, a perpetual humiliation? Apply this reasoning to all vices, to all faults, and you will be able to see how the soul improves by passing and repassing through the stamens of incarnation. It is not more just for God to have made man the arbiter of his own fate by the efforts he can make to improve himself, than to have given birth to his soul at the same time as his body, and to condemn it to perpetual torments for passing errors, without giving it the means to purify itself of its imperfections. By the plurality of existence, its future is in its hands. If it takes a long time to improve, it suffers the consequences. This is supreme justice, but hope is never closed to it. The following comparison may help to understand the vicissitudes of the soul's life. Let us suppose a long road, along the course of which there are, from distance to distance, but at unequal intervals, forests which must be crossed. At the entrance to each forest, the wide and beautiful road is interrupted and only resumes at the exit. A traveler follows this road and enters the first forest, but there no more beaten path, an inextricable maze in the middle of which he loses his way. The brightness of the sun has disappeared under the thick clump of trees. He wanders without knowing where he is going. Finally, after unheard of fatigue, he arrives at the edge of the forest, but overwhelmed with fatigue, torn by thorns, bruised by stones. There he finds the road and the light again, and he continues on his way, seeking to heal himself of his wounds. Further on, he finds a second forest where the same difficulties await him. But he already has some experiences and comes out of it less bruised. In one, he meets a woodcutter who shows him the direction he must follow and prevents him from getting lost. With each new crossing, his skill increases so that the obstacles are more and more easily overcome. Assured of finding the good road at the exit, this confidence sustains him. Then he knows how to orient himself to find it more easily. The road ends at the top of a very high mountain from where he discovers the whole route from the starting point. He also sees the different forests he has crossed and remembers the vicissitudes he has experienced there. This memory is not painful because he has reached the goal. He is like the old soldier who, in the calm of the domestic hearth, remembers the battles he has witnessed. These forests scattered along the road are for him like black dots on a white ribbon. He says to himself, when I was in these forests, especially in the first ones, how long they seemed to me to cross. It seemed to me that I would never reach the end. Everything seemed gigantic and impassable around me. But when I think that, without this brave woodcutter who put me back on the right path, I would perhaps still be there. Not that I consider these same forests from the point where I am, how small they seem to me. It seems to me that in one step I could have crossed them. Moreover, my sight penetrates them and I distinguish the smallest detail. I see even the false steps that I have made. Then an old man said to him, my son, here you are at the end of your journey, but an indefinite rest would cause you mortal boredom, and you would begin to regret the vicissitudes you have experienced, and which gave activity to your limbs and your mind. You see from here a great number of travelers on the road you have traveled, and who, like you, run the risk of getting lost on the way. You have experience. You no longer fear anything. Go to meet them and try by your advice to guide them so that they arrive sooner. I will go with joy, replied our man. But, he added, why is there not a direct road from the starting point to here? That would save travelers from having to pass through these abominable forests. My son, resumed the old man, look well and you will see many who avoid a certain number. These are those who have acquired the necessary experience first, know how to take a more direct and shorter route to arrive. But this experience is the fruit of the work that the first crossings required, so that they arrive here only because of their merit. What would you yourself know if you had not gone through it? The activity that you had to deploy, the resources of imagination that you needed to clear a path, have increased your knowledge and developed your intelligence. Without that, you would be as much a novice as when you left. And then, in trying to get yourself out of trouble, you yourself have contributed to the improvement of the forests, which you have crossed. What you have done is little, imperceptible. But think of the thousands of travelers who do as much, and who, while working for themselves, work, without realizing it, for the common good. It is not just that they should receive the reward of their labor by the rest they enjoy here. What right would they have to this rest if they had done nothing? Father, the traveler continues, in one of these forests I met a man who told me, on the edge is an immense chasm that must be crossed in one leap, but out of 1,000, barely one succeeds. All the others fall to the bottom in a fiery furnace and are lost without return. This chasm, I have not seen it. My child, it does not exist. Otherwise, it would be an abominable trap set for all the travelers who come to my house. I know well that they must overcome difficulties, but I also know that sooner or later they will overcome them. If I had created impossibilities for a single one, knowing that he would succumb, it would have been cruelty, even more so if I had done it for the majority. This chasm is an allegory of which you will see the explanation. Look on the road, in the interval of the forest. Among the travelers, you see some who walk slowly, with a joyful air. See these friends who have lost sight of each other in the labyrinths of the forest, how happy they are to find each other again at the exit. But beside them, there are others who drag themselves along painfully. They are crippled and implore the pity of passers-by, for they suffer cruelly from the wounds that, through their own fault, they have inflicted on themselves through the brambles. But they will recover from them, and it will be a lesson for them that they will benefit from in the new forest that they will have to cross, and from which they will emerge less wounded. The abyss is the figure of the evils that they endure. And in saying that out of 1,000, only one crosses it, this man was right, for the number of the imprudent is very great. But he was wrong in saying that once fallen into it, one never comes out again. There is always a way out to reach me. Go, my son, go show this way out to those who are at the bottom of the abyss. Go support the wounded on the road and show the way to those who cross the forest. The road is the figure of the spiritual life of the soul, on the path of which one is more or less happy. Forests are the bodily existences where one works for one's advancement at the same time as for the general work. The traveler who has reached his goal and who returns to help those who are behind is that of the guardian angels, missionaries of God, find their happiness in his sight, but also in the activity they deploy to do good and obey the Supreme Master.
Thank you. I got emotional just reading this again. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow. No? Wow. Is a lot to reflect. Is a lot to reflect here. I got emotional. This is me. This is, wow. So, I love spiritism. I love spiritism. I love the way, the wisdom and the spirit of the spirit who guide Allan Kardec and his wisdom, his putting all of this together is the way, in a simplicity way, telling us a story that make a lot of sense. We'll have a lot of words over there to bring just to these stories, isn't it? Just to show what to do, how to do it. Ooh, thank you, Mark, again. So here we talk who believes in reincarnation. We have this amazing picture. Over here, we have the Ouroboros, the dragon eating his tail. So the cycle of life. And the other philosophers and other cultures using this as a symbol of reincarnation. And here we see sorry, back again. Sorry. So here we see the phoenix, no? The way, again, sorry. The journey through time and consciousness. So that we go, we die, we reborn again, and we go and we live, we fly, we have all this experience. We go into the forest, and every forest that we come and it's like the story tells, every forest will be different than others. So that is the what the phoenix represent in our life, that we always research, we always will believe again, we will always there be victory in our lives. So here is a graphic representing the representation showing the approximate percent of belief in reincarnation with various religions and spiritual movements around the world. This visual highlights how central reincarnation is to certain religions, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Spiritism, while it is less common in others. So we see the other indigenous religions in Africa, the Aborigines in Australia, and the Indians here in America, North America, who believes in reincarnation are 50%. They believe they be born and they will live and die and come back to the same family again. Or the child will be born and they will die in a childhood and will be a child again in the same members of the family. So in New Age, a spiritual people believes in the reincarnation. Only 20% of them, but it's most in Brazil, I can tell from Brazil, and even here, most of the New Age people are the believers, the followers of Paramahansa Yogananda, Benza Dunov, Helena Blavatsky, Annie Besant, the Theosophical people, the Rosicrucians, and gosh, and Omra Maipai Ivanov, all of these people in the New Age that are spiritual people, they will talk and teach about a reincarnation. And in Spiritism, 100% of spiritists believes in reincarnation. In Brazil, 85% of the population believe in reincarnation. Why they in Brazil? Because in Brazil, we have different cultures composing the population of Brazil. And so many people came from the First World War I and the First World War II. They moved to Brazil, bringing their tradition, their folklorics and philosophies. So with Spiritism, and a lot of people get inside of this, and we know that Brazil is a Catholic country, and a Catholic country, even though we will say a lot of things there, or my gosh, I must have thrown nails on the cross. So it's always say, I believe that I was there in the time of Jesus and I throw rock or I throw nails on the cross, no? All the way to say, I cannot do this this time. And now this is idiom in Brazil. I cannot do this time. Let's wait for the next life. So this is a way to believe in reincarnation, no? Or they will say, I was born in a wrong family. I should be born in that family, not in this family. Or we always say, and this is common in our daily life there. Or I say, wow, I must have killed this person in past life because he hates me or she hates me. So this is our dialect or idiom that we say in Brazil. So this can be Christian, Catholic, or any other religion. We all repeat the same word. So that is a way to say that if they do not truly believe, but they accept the concept of reincarnation. Now, Sikhism is a 50%. Jainism is 100% because they teach about reincarnation, no? And the Buddhism is, I was surprised in seeing that 85% of Buddhists believe in reincarnation and 15%, they just believe the life, the goes, we continue our life after death, but they don't believe they come back and in another body. They believe in we have to go through this life and do our purification once. And Buddhism and Hinduism was 80% as well. So they, but it's very nice in the world out there that we live today with more than 7 billion Earth inhabitants, that we have the 40% of people who believes in the spiritual life, who believes in the spirit, who believes in reincarnation. It is amazing to see that. So I'm not going through this. Like I said to you, I want to pay attention to what Mark Carls read to us. So what they believe, the core of their belief in the Aboriginal, the American tribes, the African tradition religions, the ancient Greek philosophers, and the Taoism. And the summary of here, one surprised me was this: Druze religion. The Druze, if I'm misspelling, forgive me, a religion group primarily found in Lebanon, Syria, and Israel, believe in reincarnation. They hold that souls are reborn and that spiritual progress continue from one life to the next life. That is amazing, no? So this is, for me, is huge, because in the beginning of 5,000 years, when Moses start to bring the 10 commandments and to spiritualize the mass, they believe in reincarnation, but they remove it from the Bible, and they have no proof. They said the Constantinople meeting and before Jesus, after Jesus, they removed that from the Bible to control the mass. So, but it is amazing to know that people, so if they believe they will come back, they know whatever the mistakes, the karma they create in past life, they will come back in a situation that they have to repay now, to re-educating themselves or educating themselves from the karma they commit from the past life. So here in the summary, reincarnation is a belief found across a wide range of religions and spiritual traditions worldwide. It plays a central role in Eastern religion like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, and as well as in the beliefs of Spiritism, New Age spirituality, and some indigenous and ancient traditions. The common thread among these beliefs is the idea that the soul or consciousness undergoes multiple lifetimes, with the ultimate goal often being spiritual growth, enlightenment, or liberation from the cycle of rebirth. So here it is a percentage, how people Here's a graph illustrating the hypothetical influence of past life memories of various aspects of person's present life. The graph shows how different elements like personality traits, tendencies, skills, phobias, and unresolved emotional issues might be influenced by experience from past lifetime. So here we know when we look at ourselves and we know our defects and we know our virtues and we know where we brought this from. Because father and mother will teach us, they will give us example and they will be a model for us, but they will not teaching us how to think, how to do wrong things, and how to correct it. They will teach us, be example, but we have to find a way. Like in the forest, you have to find a way to get out there. Even you have parents, we have family, we have friends, but they can point their way, but you are the only person who has to find the way. There is no other way. So it's very interesting here, the percentage, the influence of past life memories on present lives. So because this, we can observe in our life and see how your life had been influenced in this lifetime by your skills. Many of others we see today more than other times that I don't know because internet, I don't know because cell phone in the hands. Now you have everything in the hands. You can videotape your children's. You can record and you can share with the world. That is amazing. This is a positive way, no? So a lot of information out there. We see these kids praying, praising God. We see this 3 years old Brazilian boy from my state in Goiás, who is attracting the attention of the most famous surgeons, heart surgeons in Brazil, to come to visit him because he knows everything about the heart, everything you need to ask him. And he's 3 years old teaching. People are sending emails to him, and they are very poor family, have no any people on the medical field or the health field in his family, and people asking him advice. I have to do a surgery on my heart, this and this. Why I got this illness? How can I get better from it? Do I really need a surgery? The surgeon didn't teach me, didn't tell me, explain very well what I have. So he will give a lecture, and that it is amazing. And we see this all over the world. It's not just here. Playing the piano, play the guitar, the violin, singing, and using computer. I think in America right now, a black boy, amazing. I think he's only 9 years old. He just finished high school. 9 years old, and he finished high school, and he want to be a scientist. And already discussing, the universities is fighting to have him in their university. So it's amazing, 9 years old. So it is a proof that we brought this from another experiences. Let's see here. So here we're going the road of life, understanding reincarnation and spiritism. We just Mark kindly just read to us the chapter 14, Posthumous Works by Allan Kardec. Is a part 1 of that book. So reincarnation is central to spiritism, explaining the soul's journeys through multiple lives for moral and spiritual growth. Each life is an opportunity to learn, to evolve, and correct past mistakes. We saw when the person got inside the forest, like say, when we were born, we do not know the body, no? We do not know where we're going through it. In fact, Spiritism teaches us in the book Missionaries of the Light by André Luiz and Chico Xavier, tells the whole book. We have this book in Amazon. We call it The Missionaries of the Light. So they will tell the beginning until the new body of a man called Sigismundo. He was in love with a woman, and his friend was in love with the woman. They married, and he continued in love, and he killed because he wanted to be with the woman. And so they killed it. And in the future when they did not know they said, I don't want to tell because I want to interfere with your lecture. I want you to be like, I want to read that book. So, but in that book, the spirit, and we're putting the parents and the spirit together, and how they will accept that the spirit to be their son, how it will be work, how the preparation. And it is amazing to see the commitment of a group, a large group of good spirits in the spiritual realms who make all that commitment to come true, all that go to help that soul who was a criminal and repent from his crime, and from the one who was killed by him, accepting him to be in his family, to be his son. It is amazing. So it's a beautiful, beautiful story. It's a beautiful book for us to read. And many other spiritual books from André Luiz and Emmanuel by Francisco Canto Xavier will tell you a lot of stories. Nosso Lar, or the Astral City. Life Goes On. Missionaries of the Light, the Messengers. And we have 50 years ago, Christ, 1,000 years from Emmanuel. All this book will be tell you stories about reincarnation, past lives, and reunion with their spiritual families and spiritual family. So here we see the forest. I want you to picture yourself in your lives going through a forest that you do not know. There in California, all over, we have amazing forest, pine trees forest. Or the forest that you know, but you know just to pass by. You never got inside of this. What we get inside? What is the dangers of it? How can you go through it naturally? What would you do if you have been lost in a forest? Think about that. Imagine the story that Brother Mark read to us through Allan Kardec. You go through this forest, and this forest is our life. We grow on it. We have a lot of obstacles there. And we will have to face a lot of our imperfections. We have to face a lot of our abilities and qualities and virtues. And that will be a lot of tools to help us to keep moving. Sometimes, and many times, in the middle of the forest, we'll be attacked, we'll be killed, and we have to go back. And then we'll be back again. We don't need to go back to the beginning of the road. We can come back at the point that we left. So you have a little experience. You learn from fears. Let me visualize the animal groups, how they work together, helping one another. Again, today, because internet, and we have all this amazing proof of the bonded of the animals helping one another. They help each other. So going through this, and we'll go until the end. Like the story tells, we were wounded. We have a lot of thorns, but we got to the top. We go from one forest to another. And more we leave one, we get more skills to go to another one until we finish it. And then when we finish it, we will go and look down with all the thorns and the wounds for all the experience that we got. And we look from the top. Remember, he said, when looking down, everything looks so small, isn't it? Like was no difficulties, because God gave us these blessings of understanding. And in the moment we understand, we forget or we let it go, no? And then we move forward. And going back to this end, we will always find a wood guy, no? Or anyone there inside to point us the direction, to help us to get out of the way that we were going to the abysm. And when they talk about the abysm here, they talk about our imperfections, our immoralities, no, our defects. But he said, only those who fell into the abysm was those who what? Did not believe in themselves. There was not a law that they have to fall into it, no? Because many will go through it, jump on it, and we go faster. It is not about others. It's not about the governors of nations, of the countries, or the states, or cities. It is not about my partner, my parents, my family. It's not about them who push me into the abysm. It is about how I am, how I allow them to do this with me. It is about me. It's about myself, how I see it, and how I can get out of this and not allow this to influence me to fall into the abysm, isn't it? So the road symbolizes the spiritual life of the soul, while the forest is a challenging part of the journey where the soul's learning grows. The ultimate goal is to reach spiritual enlightenment. Reincarnation is seen as a just system, offering the soul endless opportunities for growth. No matter how long it takes, the soul can always improve, never losing the hope of spiritual advancement. Those who have reached high spiritual understanding return to guide others. These guardian angels assist souls in their journey, helping them overcome obstacles and reach enlightenment. And that is what our guardian angel does for us, is not just incarnate, but discarnate, isn't it? We have so many. Our parents are one of them. Our friends, our best friend, our partners, our boss, or people in life, people today, all over the world, they have expressing themselves, sharing with us the difficulties they have been living before in poverty, is not because the karma of poverty, you have to be poor your whole life. You have to overcoming it. You have to learn the lesson. Like you learn the lesson that in the past life, you were a killer. So, but you learn the lessons and you don't want to kill again. You learn the lesson. So if we were rich in one life and we did not know how to use it properly, not to help to center in our own self, but to help others too, to share that with others and to make that prosperity, not just for ourselves, but to others. So God will give us opportunity to understand the poverty, to feel it in our skin. And but he doesn't want you to stay there forever. He wants you to move on and to use your intelligence and to continue progress, to continue helping others. God will give you another opportunity. You will have all back again because we deserve it. We accept it, and we know we are children of the most wonderful rich man in the universe, isn't it? So if my father is rich, I am rich. No? So we have to take that mentality of poverty, the mentality of poor me, I did that. No, we have to take off that mentality of our life and move forward because it's the law of progress. When we overcome that, we will be what? Example to others, helping others. That is what the teachers does in this universe, in our life. They learn how to teach. They manifest the lessons in themselves, and then they will go and teach. We have Nora and we have Sheila here. They are teachers. They cannot just go there and have the desire to be a teacher. They have to learn. They have to go through the process of how to teach others. A mother is different way, you know. We'll be a mother, we'll be forced to learn, but we will learn. By the second child, we are better mother than we were from the first time, and so on and so on. Until we be a grandmother, and we'll be better. We'll be graduate from. So here are the final liberation. The ultimate goals in Spiritism is to achieve a state of purity and perfection, at which point the soul no longer needs to reincarnate. That is our goal, no? I believe it's our goal to be a guide, no? One day, I don't know, 1,000 lives or more, but that is our goal. To be to no longer need to reincarnate. But when I say he not belong to reincarnate, not reincarnate in a lower world, in a material world, because life over there is always a progress. In the future, I will bring another topic, the progress of the soul, where we are going after here, how to progress in other worlds, because in my father's house, are so many mentions. So the progress of life is continuous, it's never stop. And free from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. That's what they are talking. And lives in harmony with the divinity. So in Spiritism, reincarnation is a key doctrine that explains the continuous process of the soul's development across multiple lifetimes. It provides a framework for understanding life's challenge and the moral responsibility each individual has to improve themselves. Is a law. That is a law. Spiritism views reincarnation as a just and a merciful system, offering every soul endless opportunities to grow, learn, and eventually reach spiritual perfection. So all the others teach the same. All the other religions, that is their goal, to help us to progress, isn't it? So life is a constant process of becoming who we truly are. True knowledge is not attained through words, but through experience. Empedocles is a Greek philosopher. Thank you so very much for your attention, and I hope I could bring something that you already know, but it just reinforce your mind and your heart that we are here to grow together, to find the way together, and to share all this great knowledge with one another. Thank you so very much for your time. Appreciate, and I would like to listen from you. What did you learn from it today? Thank you.
That life is like that forest. Life is just like that forest. You hit bumps, you run into trees, trees fall on you, you fall in a hole, animals chasing you. To me, it an amazing analogy for life. It really is. There's so many ups and downs in life. Even if you have children let's say I'm a bear in the forest, or a squirrel, or whatever, a bird, and they have this one bird who goes to the other bird's nest, and kicks their babies out and put their eggs in there. And the bird has no knowledge of the fact that that egg is huge. It's almost like a chicken egg in there compared to their egg, and they still raise the egg. And that to me is like adoption, an orphan, really.
And
But
what a great teaching, no?
go figure. I mean, life is amazing. And everything in the forest, there's so much there to learn, which is saying there's so much in life to continue learning.
Mhm.
The answers to our questions are here. Even if we don't want to hear it that way, they're still here. And a lot of times we don't accept it because it ain't what we want to hear.
Mhm.
But here we are. That's my.
Thank you, Gina. So I want to listen. Mark and I talk a lot. Now you can we can hear from you guys. You share some experience of yours or lessons that you have. We are here to share with one another.
Well,
I
I
thought
think. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, aside from the reality of multiple forests that we all climb through, is the call to action to teach others and to make their lives a little better as they go through their forests.
Mhm.
And that's a good call to action. That's a good wake up call.
Mhm. Mm. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Tania, for this very nice presentation that answered my question. That was always a question for me, that do we need all to come back again? And the last thing that you said, that was that we need to be purified and we need to be perfect. And they who are perfect and purified, they are like a drop of water who join the ocean. Where do you need to go? Nowhere. They don't need to come anywhere.
Mhm.
They stay there. They enjoy the life. They are in harmony, in peace.
Mhm.
And that is the answer that you gave it to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We see a life of Siddhartha Gautama, the way he illuminates, no? It is beautiful. If you have not read yet, please read about his life. And what he showed, he was born inside this rich palace, rich family. And he has his parents try to protect him the reality from outside life. Just give him everything. So what impressed me the most was a slave who lived outside that gate, who brought the truth to him, taking him to that trip to see the reality of life. Get out of there. Is that story is like we are so pure with God and harmony, and we just want to be there in sight of God. It's so good living with sight of the sun. Let's put in that example there. I don't want to get out of here, but I have to be forced to go there, out there. That is that story of Buddha teaches me. I need to go to the unknown. Is it through that unknown, is to inside the forest that I don't know what happened, what will find me there. That is where I will find my illumination, because he found his illumination when he truly understood the life outside the gate, the light of got off of his comfort and start to really see the life, to see the truth and face it. That's what he did. That is the bigger example that he taught us. Let's go to our Lord Jesus Christ. When we believe, and the Christ level is the higher level, is the highest level of evolution, of purification and perfection, he came down. He came down to the roof of that tree and taught us how to immerse inside the mud and how to not be contaminated by it. He got out of that and was this sun of love to all of us. He shined its light, and he shines its virtues forever, seeding all of our hearts and soul with his brilliant, beautiful, beautiful life, with beautiful light and beautiful love to all of us. So we have to see that who is there around us, teaching us, and we don't want to see, no? It is the way, it is illumination. We don't need anybody point fingers to us. We know that forest very well, isn't it, Mark? We know that forest very well. So I learned that way, that road, and I want to go to another challenge in my life. That is why life brings to us. And in Spiritism, we learn we don't need to be thousand times back. Will be because Dr. Paulo said, we are lazy. We are lazy. We repeat patterns. We live many lives repeating patterns, repeating it. And with our mental laziness, we don't move forward. Okay, next life. I will think about that. No? Anybody else, please? Teresa.
Well, I feel like I appreciated the focus on developing and progressing versus that, we're impure and we're bad. And, I don't know. I like that it's encouraging. And also I think it's probably more truth in that, because if God wanted us perfect, we would be made perfect and intelligent or whatever, yeah, so I really like that emphasis, because I think we're kind of immersed in old conditionings of, the fire and brimstone and this, and then it just breeds that we do that to each other, not only to ourselves, but to each other. And it kind of keeps us in a loop, I think. So I like the logical explanation, the forest, and this, yeah, that we're evolving, we're progressing, and that it is an opportunity, and it's almost like, well, it's a divine law. So, it's in perfect order, to trust that process, that it's really the perfect way, even though we maybe don't understand it completely, and maybe in the moment, whatever we're facing, we might, feel, oh, it's unjust, but just that reminder that veil of forgetfulness is a blessing, because maybe we wouldn't be able to handle everything about ourselves.
True.
So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Netri and Jivada, you guys live in another community there in Nevada, and you choose that life coming together through the teachings of the Guru Paramahansa Yogananda, who amazingly too have the same concepts of reincarnation, of evolution, of karma, no? And what you can share with us, you both.
Well, recently, a friend was saying, she's our age, a little older. She said, I don't know what made me think it was going to get easier as I got older, because we think, oh, I went through that forest. Oh boy, I got that one. And oh, here's this other forest, I learned more. And we somehow think that we can let down, and that we're not always here to learn, and that the forests are there, and well, the hazards may be a little more subtle, but it's so important to tune into the divine, always listen to the divine, and keep moving forward, and keep moving forward with it. Not let down. That's so true. We get lazy. We want a timeout. Okay, I've had enough.
No.
Can I have a little bit of a pause? No, we have to keep moving forward,
Yeah.
or we're stuck in the forest.
Yeah.
And I love the imagery, and it is just exactly this in the same teaching. It is just a universal. It's from the divine. It's Christ's consciousness. And it's beautiful to hear it.
Thank
and
you.
get the different images. It always helps.
And you guys, no, with permission to share with the group, like the Ananda community in Nevada City, it is like was a forest is there.
Yes.
Before we just found in that was a big forest. So what a beautiful, today is a community of many families, many souls gathering together in the same concept, with respecting the defect of one another, neighbors, and sharing it, loving them as they are, with their defect and qualities. And what I love the most of you both, specifically, all that what you went through, you make the most beautiful gardening in the whole California, I would say in the whole United States. And not just there, because the medium group, every Monday, we still smell the beautiful flowers of the Astral Hospital at that garden that Dr. Paulo said, you are one of the architects. You both working in the spiritual time when you're sleeping, the body's resting. He said they are constantly innovating. Oh, got a goosebump. Dr. Paulo always will bring something that you have been working consciously or unconsciously over there. Thank you so much, because that you make the most beautiful, perfect. You overcome the forest. You overcome the thorns. even though it's still some wounds, but you guys making life much pleasurable, much pleasant, more beautiful to others to see, and motivating them to continue move forward. Thanks so much.
Just really quickly, dear sister, thank you for such a beautiful message. And I love the idea of the forest because in my head, I'm seeing a classroom, and this gives another perspective. Or why not blend them together and be like having classrooms, lessons in the forest? I see it all the time. Being a teacher when you're passing grade levels and what a whole year can be, and it's not easy. And we have a curriculum, let's say this analogy of a classroom, and we know in the Bible, I think it's a Jeremiah 33 verses 1 to 5 or something like that, where it says, God already knew us before forming us in our mother's womb, right? So that we know that there's so much planning and so much of this, like we already have a curriculum and we just have to go through it, whether in a classroom, analogy of classroom or an analogy of a forest. I just wanted to say it was really beautiful, deeply touched, and reincarnation, understanding it, excuse me, has really helped, like understanding my family situation. Prior to understanding this, it was very difficult. I always thought, oh, I'm in the wrong family, I'm in the wrong situation, and this or that. And then as we start to study more and exchange ideas in these groups, we start to understand, actually, no, we are in the perfect family, perfect setting that start to helps us to mold and to grow. I love to also listen to Dolores Canyon since we're right. And she is amazing because she also had a lot of that input. If we don't learn our lesson, we have to repeat it again. And sometimes it's a little bit harder, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like
I don't want to repeat. No?
there's certain things I don't want to repeat again. But it's like a motivator for us to keep going forward. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I do think about the same things when I say, no, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. I think I don't want to come back for that. So keep moving, motivate us to push us to go. And those who brings us sometimes a difficult task, we can just remember they are the best tools that God gave to us in this lifetime. So we have to know how to use them and how to be a great chemistry, no? How to transform this. You're right. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Tanya. Good presentation. We're going to take a 2-minute break and grab your water. We'll come back and do the meditation healing.